Electric Callboy are insanely fun live. I've seen them 3 times now over the years, having seen the first Electric Ballroom, a smaller cap venue. I saw them at Slamdog Festival earlier in the year, and this was them headlining Alexandra Palace in London, which is a massive venue. Thousands and thousands of people here for the headline show, and it was a treat to be able to go and take in that whole performance. This would be my recap of what their set was like. First of all, shout out to their tour manager, the one and only Tank the Tech, for inviting me along to the show. Great to meet him in the real world for the very first time. Had a good chat to him for a little bit before the live show it's set, so thank you again to Tank for that. I'm afraid I didn't see the support acts for this particular concert in Wargasm and Bury Tomorrow, but I have seen them and covered them in other review videos before on this channel. So Electric Callboy set was the main thing I was excited to check out. They're always fun. They got good humor in between songs. Production level's pretty high. They've got costume changes. They've got pyro, etc. So I was expecting a big show, and they more than delivered it. And as I know from Tank, they actually had to scale down the production for that they had planned originally because of the ceiling of this venue is kind of not necessarily ready for the amount of pyrotechnics that were going to be planned originally for this. But it didn't seem to matter to me. There was still plenty of pyro to go on and visual fun moments which happened throughout the set. So at this stage, on from the last time I saw them headline their own show, they have more songs to choose from. Some big hits recently in the examples of Elevator Operator and Ra-Ta-Ta-Ta, which they absolutely smashed. They did play those songs. And their brand new song, Danzig, actually, they opened with, which was a bit of a surprise for me. Set a fun, happy, dancey tone with that one. Happily, the sound in front of house was excellent. You could hear the vocals clearly over the rest of the instrumentation, which is important for kind of this band. The kind of lyrical, humorous sing-along moments were nice and punchy through the mix, and it was loud as hell, which is excellent because you've got thousands of people in front of you. You need the people at the back to be as impacted by the kick drum, for example, as those at the front. So it sounded pretty good from where I was. Also, this is the first time I've seen them have kind of LED screens. Happily, they had 2 big monitor screens either side of the stage that if you were towards the back, because it's a big venue, you had cameras zoomed in on the performance so that you can actually take in some of the emotional kind of expressiveness of their faces. And also they use that sometimes for visuals throughout different songs. And they had a huge LED screen behind them as well, which at times would have interlude moments in between songs or kind of background imagery for that supports the particular theme of the song. So there's plenty visually going on to kind of entertain. There's also this huge X that was suspended in the air over the stage, which had lighting and LED screens on it as well. So sometimes there were lyrics or song names on there, whilst also emitting kind of the pyro of smoke quite a lot actually throughout that show. So yeah, no expense was spared on the production side of it. You also had their kind of favorite thing they have had since I first saw them many years ago, of plenty of confetti and flame pyros. It was, yeah, pretty fucking fun. They also had a couple of fun moments throughout the set that was not strictly just performing the songs and having a jolly dance along. There was a moment when they brought out a dartboard, or rather Tank the Tech brought out a dartboard, because in Alexandra Palace is where the darts world championships are held. So apparently Nico's a fan, and he threw some darts, which I was actually a bit nervous about because Kevin was holding them in front of his face, which is fine, his face won't be hurt. But like, if Nico misses, because it's, you know, a varied distance perhaps on that stage, he could have done some harm to Kevin. So that was a bit of a risky moment, but kind of a fun one. And you have the big sing-along, da, 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 da. If you watch darts, you'll know about that one at the end of his particular thing. He didn't do that well. I think he hit 1 dart on the 20 and the rest kind of missed, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. Really fun moment there. And then there was a moment during their set when they disappeared off the stage, and then you could hear them through the speakers, kind of in a more chatty way, and they popped up in the middle of the crowd with a piano to do a couple of piano renditions. Oddly enough, of Fuckboy, which is one of my favorite songs by them that they did with Conquer Divide. But they did it in this beautiful piano rendition style, which is hilarious given the sort of lyrical content of that song. I loved that. That was quite cool. And then they also did Every Time We Touch, which again is an unexpected one to do in a ballad way. So I liked that sort of juxtaposition there. And then before they finished that song, they walked through the crowd up to the main stage and then had the full dancing moment there. Fucking banger, fun song, everyone dancing and singing along to that one. And there was also a moment when they basically turned the whole place into a club. They rolled out a DJ deck. It's kind of club dance music, but then spliced in moments from like Bodies by Drowning Pool, or I think it was All the Small Things by Blink-182. So huge sing-along moments, big dancey fun, not taking itself too seriously, and yet delivering seriously good music overall. It was a fucking blast. There was also a huge drum solo moment, which was a fun concept. They had this sort of robotic animated thing that would pop up before some of the songs throughout the set and kind of set a kind of menacing tone, or have some jukebox moment on a boombox signaling the song that's going to come up next. And they had this sort of animated drum thing where they'd play a drum part and then the drummer would mirror that, and they kind of have a little drum off in that way. So that was kind of fun. Nice kind of staging moment. Adds a bit of variety and pacing throughout the set. The main star of the show is the songs themselves and the performance. Vocals were completely on point. All the band members were getting on the action, doing various kind of dance move or like kind of jokey sort of sketch moments amongst themselves. Like anywhere you looked on stage, there was something delightful to enjoy. They also featured some deeper cut songs in their set list from many, many years ago when the band was a little bit younger, so that the older school fans had something to enjoy from that as well. So good balance in terms of the timeline of their discography. But yeah, every single big banger you wanted to hear, they played. Reverie, big catchy recent-ish song, was performed, as well as Pump It, of course, the huge hit. Their encore was Spaceman, along with We Got the Moves, of course, as the closer, which is, I think, my favorite song and maybe their best song still, but perhaps with bias because it was like very early on in my discovering them that I got to enjoy that song, and it was kind of like them putting their stamp on, this is who we are, this is how we are. Hyper Hyper was not like a once only thing. Even though they'd had songs before, that was just when I discovered them. So We Got the Moves for me was my ideal closing song of their set. Super fun. Again, more pyro and confetti to send them off into the good night. But they did a fucking fantastic job. And here's the thing. I was expecting it to be fun. I was expecting it to be good because that is what I've seen of them before. And yet somehow they still managed to elevate beyond that expectation, which is very hard to do when already I have a high expectation. Perhaps there was something about the many thousands of people all here to see the same headliner, which I've not had with them before, because Electric Ballroom is a smaller venue, smaller crowd. And Slam Dunk, you're going to have a bit of a curiosity crowd as well as people who are there to see Electric Callboy in particular. So to have that many people jumping up and down, shouting along with all the dubs in whatever song, I mean, especially Hyper Hyper, but it's just this wonderful communal release of energy and joy, and in a way that doesn't take itself too seriously. There's some jokey moments, and they're very endearing as well when they're talking to the crowd. They're fucking hilarious, but very human at the same time. It's just, you can't help but support it and want more of it. It's a wonderful fucking thing. And yeah, a treat to be able to see Electric Callboy again, and especially at that iconic, massive venue of Alexandra Palace. Very fucking cool. And they're playing Download Festival in 2026, and I'll be going to see them again. Like it's kind of like a drug, that euphoric, fun feeling that they are able to translate live. It's something you just end up walking out of that venue wanting more of. So that was my experience of Electric Callboy at Alexandra Palace, or Ali Pally as we call it affectionately here in the UK. Worth the travel. Ali Pally is not the closest destination to get to, even from London. But it was incredibly fun. Super excellent show by Electric Callboy, as expected. And there'll be more shows coming up by other bands I'm going to be checking out and doing reviews of. So if you enjoyed this, make sure you subscribe to this channel for more of these kind of concert experience reviews as I try and take you with me and describe what it was like in the room at these awesome gigs. So thank you for tuning into this one. Hopefully you'll come back for another video very soon.